What is a recession and why is it so feared? The topic of conversation these days is whether or not we are in a recession. Why then do individuals become uncomfortable at the mere mention of a recession when they are a natural part of the business cycle? Although a recession should not be unexpected, its timing, origin, depth, and duration frequently do. Describe a recession. 2 consecutive quarters of real GDP, gross domestic product, growth that is negative is the formal definition of a recession. Real GDP estimates overall output after taking inflation into account. A recession, on the other hand, is described as a major fall in economic activity that is distributed across the economy and lasts more than a few months, by the National Bureau of Economic Research, NBER. Although they might linger for months or even years, recessions usually terminate after a year or less. Although a technical recession may not actually be a real recession, all 10 of the previous occasions in which the United States saw 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth saw a recession formally declared. In 2023, we'll find out if this is still the case. But before we begin, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for such amazing and informative videos. I will upload a video every day until getting monetized. How does a recession unfold? Retail sales typically decline and unemployment typically rises during a recession. Consumers frequently prefer to put off making large purchases in favor of paying down debt or saving money. The most frequent factor contributing to slower economic growth is a decrease in consumer spending as a result of greater costs, reduced incomes, or worries about the future. Businesses often drastically cut back on investments, production, and labor as a result of decreased demand, which makes the slowdown worse. Typically, recessions start at the highest point of a business cycle and terminate at its lowest or trough point. The recession brought on by COVID was an outlier because it began in Q1 2020 after economic activity peaked in Q4 2019. According to the NBER, the American economy's official recession declaration body, this recession is the shortest one ever recorded. A recession is declared by whom? The formal announcements on U.S. recessions are made by NBER. However, they frequently wait until far into or even beyond a recession to make pronouncements. In Canada, the government decides whether a recession has started or ended. Any conclusions about the start or end of a recession are communicated by the Governor of the Bank of Canada or the Minister of Finance. Can you predict when one will begin? Recessions don't happen at set or predictable points in the business cycle. However, leading indicators, measures of economic activity that can be used as a predictor of whether a recession is likely to start, are monitored by economists and government officials. Sharp decreases in the stock market, decreased retail sales, lower corporate inventories, or a major decline in housing values are a few examples. Other indicators that a recession might be approaching include an inverted yield curve and declining consumer confidence. Similar to leading indicators, trailing indicators are indications of economic activity that show when a recession has started. Real GDP, wages, and incomes are all declining, foreign commerce is weakening, and unemployment rates are rising. Recessions can be of various sizes and shapes. V-shaped recessions happen quickly, beginning with a steep dip and ending with an abrupt and spectacular rise. In U-shaped recessions, the economy spends more time at its lowest point and recovers more slowly. W-shaped recessions, often referred to as double-dip recessions, occur when the economy shows signs of recovery before going into yet another downturn. K-shaped recessions happen when some areas of the economy bounce back faster than others. Canadian recession history. Recessions are unpredictable and inconsistent, as history has shown. Since 1970, Canada has experienced 5 recessions, and since the Great Depression, 12 have occurred, 1929. Recessions in Canada typically last 3 to 9 months. It's interesting to note that every Canadian recession since 1970 coincided with an American recession, highlighting the close economic ties between our two countries. Or is it different this time? Economic growth is plainly decreasing, which is exactly what the Bank of Canada and U.S. Federal Reserve want. With each rate increase, and probably more so the higher the increases, the chances of avoiding a recession go smaller. Despite this, all 6 of the indices that NBER used to determine whether or not there was a recession have increased since December 2021, through the end of June 2022. A U.S. recession has also never occurred without employment losses. There are economies in China and the Eurozone that appear to be on the verge of recession, in addition to those in North America. The only positive to come out of this is that recessions don't endure forever. Even the biggest economic downturn in history, the Great Depression, eventually came to an end. And when it did, there was a period of rapid economic development. We must wait and watch what transpires this time. Why do recessions occur? It is debatable exactly what triggers recessions and powers these systems. The Keynesian theory that lack of demand is to blame arises from the observation that every industry experiences a decline at the same time. But why should someone suddenly decide to cut back on their spending? Why should that be the same across the nation? Undoubtedly, the economy is more intricate than a simple stimulus theory can convey. The natural instability of some enterprises growing and others shrinking is one reason for recession. 2008 was somewhat influenced by the realization that, no, we won't all migrate to Las Vegas, thus we need to stop developing housing there. The first internet era came to an end in 1999, in part. The conclusion of this wave of internet development appears to be near. And there may at least be a pause when large bets on infinite growth fail and individuals switch from one type of employment to another. Even well-known recessions like those in 2008 and 1929 demonstrate a clear slowdown in economic activity prior to the financial crisis. The slowdown in growth is at least partially to blame for the current financial panic. Risky businesses that bet on years of steady growth are suddenly worth less, as we can see in the tech industry right now. If banks are exposed to these enterprises excessively, the feedback may worsen the situation. What else about recessions do people frequently misunderstand? People also have misconceptions about how unemployment works. The majority of people find work rather quickly, even during recessions. In both good and poor economic times, the actual problem is the diminishing labor force participation rate, or the number of people who are even seeking for employment. When income is down and the unemployment rate is increasing, a recession is occurring. But despite low income and widespread unemployment, we are nonetheless living in terrible times. That lasts quite a while after a recession. If we had it to do over again, I believe we would characterize recessions in terms of low GDP levels and high unemployment rates rather than growth rates. Another mistake made by most individuals is exaggerating recessions, no matter how unpleasant they are in the grand scheme of things. For a few years, a severe recession may cause income to decline by 5%. Long-term growth, however, outweighs such fluctuations. In 2012, the annual average salary was less than $15,000 in 1950. Now, in 2012, it is $60,000. That is a lot. Our main issue right now is stagnating growth. The economy's long-term growth is far more important than its annual growth rates. Although painful interruptions, recessions should not overshadow the importance of long-term growth. Did you learn something new about the recession and why is it so feared that you didn't know before? We hope you did. I will upload a video every day until getting monetized. So, if you're interested in learning more amazing facts, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to get notified by our new videos. Please check the link in the description for our merch also because there's something very special for you in it. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to comment down your views on this. Thanks for watching till the end.